We're live in the house. Perhaps we'll get the microphone nearby so you can hear me talk. Good evening. That's it. Flooding in on a well, flooding is quite that word. It's been raining here all weekend, which is excellent. Good. Lake Windermere is nice and high. I do apologize. I do have 4 of the dogs with me tonight, so you may hear the bark. There's no snoring now, thankfully, because they're all awake. So if you do hear funny noises, it isn't me, it is dogs. All right, we've got Oreo, Idris, Eva, and Willow all in the house. So I'm not on my own. And hopefully their mum won't be back before I finish this. Otherwise, you'll hear lots of barking. Anyway, it's part of my life, part of my identity are my doggies. So here we go. And we can get ready to start in a moment. Give it a few minutes. Before I forget, because I do this every time, let me just enable the chat. So, right, do that. Do that. Cool. All right. Oh, there we go. Where's that? Right. Cool. Right, the chat box is open. Hey, while we're waiting for a couple of people to join, just pop in the chat box where you're from. Say hello, give me a wave. Obviously, being a webinar, unlike a Zoom call, all you can do is see me. I can't see you, which might be a good thing, a bad thing. So give me a wave, give me a hello. There we go. Should be able to chat now. Can I remember to put it in? So cool. All right. Super. Right then. What time is it, Mr. Wolf? It is 2 minutes. I'll give it another minute and then we'll get to rock and roll. And we'll get started. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Right then. So, journaling. Let me take on a little story, all right, of the power of this. Because I think it's just, I've always struggled all my life writing. Ben, I used to do bids for rail franchises, but I've always struggled with writing until I learned how journaling is so powerful, how journaling is so effective. And I'm going to cover journaling as a whole. I will intersperse about how it helps overcome binge eating, most easy, but just journaling is a process of, because remember, we all binge eat or mostly because we're filling an emotional void, right? However, journaling is a great opportunity for us to help get what we need to do. And to be fair, you won't actually, when you think about, you heard about the word journal, what do you think now? I got to admit, my first belief in journaling was it's this leather-bound journal, which I do have one now, and you're endlessly writing reams and reams and reams, trying to find the right words to detail your day. And, we all know journaling is good for us, kind of like eating the right food's good for us. But this doesn't mean it's something you're going to enjoy doing, is my viewpoint. But you can. Now, before we go any further, okay, you need to recognize a fundamental truth about journaling. There are many ways to journal for success, right? And while there is something some refer to as a success journal, okay, every journal can put you on the road to success, whether it's just, a simple notepad like this to a full-blown, planner like this, to whatever it may be. Okay, now if you go on Amazon, okay, there are 7,000 entries for journals. If you're on Etsy, there's 1.1 million results. So it's a big industry, but it's about making what's right for you. Okay, so like I said, we talk about success journey, but every journal can put you on the road to success. So how do you go about plotting a better life through journaling? Well, the thing you need to do is you need to start determining What areas of your life you'd like to work on. Journaling to improve the results of whatever you set out to depends on how you're using journaling and which journals you're actually using. So where to begin? Well, in this training tonight, I'm going to take you through 10 different ways to journal your way to success. Each method involves learning about a new journal and examining why this particular approach can help succeed at your goals. And then it's about marrying it the right way for you. I'll also at the end talk about, my journal, which you have access to a 7-day version of, and also how this works in a wider program and how it's effective in, filling that void and overcoming binge eating. Okay. So, but, and I'll talk to you through the resources that I'm going to share with you afterwards. The thing is, see, once you've experimented a little with different types of journaling, you can actually then decide how you want to use it, and whether you just go with a notepad, whether you go and get a structured one, whether you go and invest in, Brendon Burchard's Growth Day journal on Amazon, or one of those nice little £10 ones with questions in. But by starting with the 10 power tips, it'll be a great thing to get you started. The thing you got to remember is this should be an exciting process. If you're sat going, oh God, I've got to write, oh, this is going to be boring, it's not going to work, okay? And you need to forget about that stuffy vision of journaling you might have had. This is your journal journey, and it's going to take you to wherever you want it to go. So, like I said, we're going to cover 10 ways to journal your way to success, and I'm going to give you some real potent power tips to get you started. So, how many different kinds of journals are there? Well, it's impossible to guess. Like I said, there are 7,000 you can buy on Amazon, and there's, 1.1 million on Etsy. Now, one of the best parts of journaling that I found is creating your own journal experience, however you like it, which is why I love, my first started with some journal prompts, which I can send you, put them in a notebook. Just getting started. We don't need to overcomplicate it. Some people might include creating a travel journal and recording the experience of wandering around. Someone else, it could be a food journal. Somebody else, it could be developing a property. It could be whatever they're on. Let's say we're going to look at 10 very specific kinds of goals you might have and how you want to achieve success of it. And of course, we're going to drill down on a very specific area of change, meaning that not every journal is going to get listed or be suited to your needs. But again, this is the beauty of it, using the tools we'll give you and the tools that I coach in my programs. It's about making it work for you. This is about one size fits all. The key, though, is to decide on what you're hoping to accomplish and then look for a journal or process that's going to help you on your self-improvement journey. So the first one, in other words, is helping you stick to your goals. This is about ensuring you accomplish the things important to you, okay? A goal journal is a perfect place to track your dreams, make plans for achieving what you want to in life, and record your successes. But why is it important? Well, if you think about this, you're never going to actually get anywhere in life if you don't make goals and you do the work to achieve them. We can all make wishy-washy. I want to be, I want to have 7 holidays a year. I want to, have £1 million in the bank and whatever. Okay. But the thing is, success never comes about by accident. Having willpower, grit become important traits to cultivate, as you're going to know when dealing with this. You guys are all here. You've had some battle with achieving your goals. You've always had a weight loss goal, which you may not have achieved because of yo-yo dieting, because of binge eating, okay? But how do you keep up your momentum when the going gets rough? Well, again, you need to have a plan. How do you dig deep to press on when you're thinking about quitting? The answer lies in journaling. So how does it help? Well, guess what? When you write down your goals, you're more likely to stick to them already. Add to this the planning, which you can do in a journal, setting out the steps, milestones, projected dates of completion. When all of my programs, I've got a couple of clients on the call tonight, I bang on about the importance of having a plan, importance of having a schedule, importance of having structure, importance of having a meal plan, okay? Because then you're going to know how you're on target. You're not leaving things to chance. The other thing is, well, you can actually track how far you've gone. You can take inspiration from the praises, start capturing those wins. Seeing how far you've already come will actually help keep you going, even on days when you feel like you're never going to get there. Okay. And when used regularly, a goal journal is a really powerful thing. So what's an example of sticking to your goals? Well, if you start your entry by detailing what you're hoping to accomplish, what does your dream look like? How do you feel about this dream or this goal? Why do you want to accomplish it? Why is this important in your life? Once you have the vision down, you can take some time to work out the first steps. And what's the next thing that you need to do to set this dream in motion? In my programs, I talk about creating this big why, creating a plan, creating something effective and powerful, okay? Because it's really important. And then we start saying about, okay, what am I going to do today which is going to set you on that journey? What's the next step I've got to take? The next one you look at is about tracking your progress and growth. And any of you who've probably done a diet and used MyFitnessPal, you'll be bored to death with this, okay? But this is about you improving. Now, you might think this sounds very similar to a goal journal, but it has a slightly different emphasis. And while you still have goals in your progress journal, you focus on your journey rather than your outcome, which if you're like me, trying to overcome binge eating, emotional eating like I was, that is a journey. There is no end date in sight. So why is this important? Well, it's hard to feel like you're going anywhere. If you don't check in daily to see what's been done and what needs to be done, it's a bit like wanting to lose 20 pounds, okay? How are you supposed to know how your actions affect this goal if you don't track that weight, if you don't examine what's going on, if you don't look at your exercise doing, look at your food you're eating? The whole point of tracking your progress is know where you are. Now, if you are looking to reduce your binging, if you're not tracking how often it's happening, when it's happening, what's causing it, you're not going to see the success because in your mind you go, I'm still failing. And when we're doing this, is regular kind of checkups is how you're going to determine if you really need to push to work harder. And when it's okay to go, you know what, I'm doing all right. Because you've got something to measure against. And the journal is a great place to write down how you're going. Going back to the example for like weight loss, okay? You can use your journal to write down what you're eating in a day. Again, perfect tool. You can record what you did for exercise, keep track of measurements that you're doing. Because remember, that number on the scale is a pointless number because it's one metric. You should be looking at a whole tree of things. But if you've got a progress, you can measure that. This record will actually help you determine what's working for you and what doesn't. It also helps you discover what needs to change. So let's just say sleep, okay? A big thing in my programs, I talk about clients, because if you get poor sleep, it has a massive impact on your weight, okay? And your ability to manage your eating habits. So let's say your habits, you want to get better sleep. Now, you can use your journal to write down when you go to bed. In the morning, you might know how many times you woke up in the night, or whether you had trouble falling asleep, or you might also note any sleep problems. Room was too warm, noises from outside were bothersome, and then how many hours sleep you had. You start keeping this journal over the next week, you can see you need to do certain things that might help you get better sleep, such as adding a white noise machine to drown out this outside noise, or change your bedding, or put some blackout curtains up. You can use that journal to see how these changes affect your quality of sleep. Then gratitude. Now, I think gratitude is an underrated thing used in this world. And if we all showed more gratitude, the world would be a better place. And a gratitude journal is something everyone should keep, even if it's just a note section in your phone. Why? Because gratitude is so important to better health and emotional well-being. There are so many studies that have shown just how beneficial gratitude is. It affects everything from how it lowers your stress levels to how gratitude can make you more mindful. It makes you a better person, more giving, and even compassionate to those around you. And guess what? A gratitude journal is a great key to unlocking this great potential. But why is it important for success? Well, what it does, gratitude builds an awareness of the world around you. I want you to think about it this way. Gratitude is the reason you know what you want, appreciate what you've done so far, and can envision a hopeful future. It's been proven that gratitude helps you lean into success. It's giving you that drive to succeed and the tools to get there. What makes this even better is just how much gratitude can help given any situation, to be more understanding of those around you, meaning your natural empathy will help you build positive connections. This compassionate and appreciative attitude makes you stand out from your co-workers, putting you in line for more opportunities. And finally, gratitude is also what builds positive energy in our lives, yielding serious growth on a more personal level. After all, isn't this contentment and absolute happiness just another form of success? It is. So how does it help? A lot of the clients I work with struggle with gratitude, struggle to put the words on what they mean. In fact, if you asked a perfect stranger what they were grateful for, they would probably give a pretty standard cookie cutter list of answers: their health, their family, a roof over their head. Sound familiar? All important things, but in truth, we're all pretty much grateful for the same things. If you're looking at the bigger picture, the distant view, though, isn't necessarily satisfying. What journaling does, it invites you to take that closer look. Rather than getting caught up in something general, which might only give you a vague sense of Thanksgiving, you want to really dig deep and find out what really matters to you. For example, you're grateful for your mum, but just what makes your mum so special, better than other mums out there? When you journal, you can explore these ideas and discover the best parts of your world. So what's an example of this? Well, like we just said before, being grateful for your mum. Take a moment to really think about something special which defines why you're grateful for them, or anyone else you like. If you get stuck, you start asking questions like why or what. For example, I'm grateful for my mum. Why? Because my mum does really great things for me. Like what? Well, because one time when I was sick, she went out and delivered my entire paper round for me. I know she had a terrible time, wasn't feeling great herself, but she still did it. I'm grateful for her for doing that. As you can see, it's not hard to take something very general and make it incredibly specific. These stories you want to record in your gratitude journal because they're personal, they're meaningful, they're specifically to you. Don't think about improving your memory. As we grow older, subject memory becomes more and more important. I know my kids laugh at me now. I'm only 51. They go, oh God, you're getting like granddad. Okay. But current research shows we really can make a difference in whether we suffer issues with memory loss as we age. It's wonderful to know that keeping a journal is one of those things that helps your cognitive function and improves memory. What's even more fun is using a memory journal to write down stories that you can someday share with those you love. But why is it important? Well, anytime you can do something which will help you think more clearly, you're going to make better decisions. This is really important when we think about, the journey we've been on, because we'll always be quite negative if we don't look at our success and look backwards. Also, when you think about life, not forgetting important meetings, information, or when the next deadline is, can benefit your work life. Definitely benefits my personal life if I remember when certain birthdays are, or when I'm supposed to be on a date. But how can it help your memory? Well, just the act of writing something down by hand will help you remember it, okay? But journaling will take you far beyond that act of writing notes. By creating a memory journal, you make a concentrated effort to remember the important things to you. But how does this help you? Well, write about a favorite experience. It could be recent or a long time ago. Take the time to explore all your senses in that memory, to try and find something you tasted, something you heard, something you touched. I ask my clients to do this when they're eating, to take that time to remember that meal, remember how it tasted. Was the tomatoes fresh? Was the lettuce fresh in that burger? How was the bun? Was it toasted? Was it overcooked? Was the burger overcooked? Again, these sort of things can really help you capture these things and can really help you process them. And then we wouldn't be here if we didn't talk about getting organized. If you have any difficulty in tracking your life, knowing when the next deadline is, staying organized in general, okay? Using journaling and using a diary is critical. Now, I've asked a lot of my clients this question in terms of where does your time go? Because everyone says they're too busy. They don't have time. Can't find the time to this, but I haven't got time to eat properly. I haven't got time to prepare for it. I'm busy, I'm this. But if you've got a journal and you've got a schedule, you've got a diary, it's about having that process. It's about using bullet points, about being direct on what you're looking to achieve. Why is it important? Well, listen, we all know it's never looking good when you're scrabbling around things. You're late, you forget things. You're always that person at work who goes, don't ask Chris to do it because it will never be on time. But when you know what's expected of you in terms of your life, it'll one less stress you have that can trigger your eating. You can get ahead of things more quickly. It also helps you. A bullet journal is a great place to stay organized. You're having lists. The beauty in a bullet journal is it comes when you leave the first page blank. So you create a list of contents. You can flick backwards and forwards. You can see the progress you made, see the things you ticked off. You can include to-do lists, random notes, reminders. There's so many digital tools out here that do this as well. If you like, don't like writing down. But again, I think writing down is very powerful. But then you can also throw in some longer posts, some impressions, some photos, some whatever, like a scrapbook. But then it's all there for you, easy to find, and use Post-it note stickers. So one example you could use is take a few minutes, make a list of a certain goal you're working on right now. Include as potential deadlines, milestones, meetings, anything else that's attached, even if you put something in your personal life. Now see if you can make a list to add in any steps to accomplish this goal, along with a date for each step so you know where you should be at any given time. Because when you think about this, we are slipping into using food for comfort because we're disorganized, because we're stressed. All these tools can really help us overcome this. Then let's discuss depression, anxiety. One of the most important ways you can take care of yourself is through journaling, especially if you suffer anxiety or depression. Successfully staying on top of your mental health is crucial to success in every other aspect of your life. Definitely helps when we're looking at overcoming emotional eating and binge eating. This is why if you have a wellness journal dedicated to these aspects of your life, it's something you should consider if you want to have a balanced life. So why is it important? Well, we all know it's almost impossible to move forward in life if you're struggling with the hangover depression or you're anxious about something. We don't feel like we're our best selves. Self-image suffers. We start doubting whether we can accomplish what we set out to do. We worry, and that worry can cripple action, which then leads us to eating food and leads us down that path. Depression will take away the impetus to even try. This is why good mental health is so crucial to success. Without it, your ability to move forward is reduced to nothing. You end up in this vicious cycle. So how does journaling help reduce this? Well, a lot of us will suffer from this during some time, okay? And it can always be linked to how we're processing our emotions. Too often, we are affected by things within our past. This isn't to say there might be physical reasons for suffering, either or both of those, okay? For example, it could be chemical imbalance can seriously affect how you think and feel. But what's been proven through various studies is how much writing about your emotions can help with anxiety and depression, because all of a sudden it goes out of your head onto paper. And it never seems as bad as it really is because it's in front of you. More important, when you're using this process to track your mental health, you can record your anxious thoughts. They're out of your head. You're processing it. You can see how you're doing from day to day. You're keeping an eye on your progress and you're noting when you might be on a downward trend. By using this journal and the mental health, working with mental health team or coach or counselor, whatever it is, you can truly take control of your mental health. So what's an example of this? Well, create an entry for a thought diary, okay? Start with talking about where you are right now. What's going on? Next, consider what you're feeling right now. Be as honest as possible about this. Don't be afraid to probe deeper. For example, there's a big difference between mad and betrayed. So try to get specific. And again, there's a tool called the emotional wheel, which I use in my programs that helps people to expand on those words. Then once you've got the emotion nailed, write down the thought which goes with the emotion. For example, it might be something like this. I'm at work and I feel panicked and worried. My thought was, I'm going to get fired for messing up the proposal. Now, now you're going to take a step back, examine this thought. Is this a logical thought? In this case, you might say, well, this is an illogical thought. Yeah, I made a mistake on the proposal, but the rest of it was fine. If anything, almost nobody noticed the mistake, and those who did were fine with making a change and turning it in again. Finally, you want to then end with a more sensible thought, which lines up with the truth you just wrote. I presented my proposal and it went fairly well. Yeah, I made a mistake, but nobody minded, especially after turning in the new copy. If anything, my boss thought I did okay with it. Now, if we take this in terms of triggering for binging, if you do this process, you've eliminated that reason for the inner critic to say you're a failure. You've processed it. You're not spiraling into that place again, are you? Now, please note that if you have trouble identifying a more logical thought or better outcome, this is where you might benefit from speaking with a counselor or somebody who walked through this process a few times, or even a coach. Any of my clients on this call, if you get struggle with this, we can discuss it on our calls. Having someone who understands emotions can be an incredible benefit to work through these. So think of me or your coach or your guy, as somebody to guide you towards this good health. So improving writing skills, well, obviously it's going to do that because you're going to be observing things. You're going to start seeing how you feel, hear, what you glean from outside sources. Add in your thoughts and emotions, you've got a powerful combination that can actually be used to create new ideas. Creativity can be a great tool for improving your well-being, your mental health again. And creativity is a great tool to use as a distraction technique. And nothing beats the act of writing to become a better writer. It's like all things, the more you practice, the better you become. And because this is just for you, no one's going to judge you on it. But it's a great tool to help distract yourself. Now, whenever we talk about, there's different prompts you can try, and there's a list of prompts, and I've got the worksheet to share with you on this. If not, you can search online. There's thousands of writing prompts. But find a question, think about it. In my journal, I use with my coach, I've got 8 prompts in the morning, 8 prompts in the evening that help me explore and develop these. Then tracking your ideas. Again, great idea. Gives you a central place to jot down your important thoughts. No more scraps of paper, no more scattered inboxes. Okay. But why is this important? Well, if you're on this journey, okay, you might hit on something useful or even life-changing. The problem is inspiration's everywhere, but our memory isn't always the most reliable tool. So while you might have figured out the perfect solution to a problem at work while standing in line grabbing a coffee at Starbucks, the idea is going to be gone by the time you get your coffee. Sadly, there's no way for us to capitalize on these ideas. One other thing to consider is how frequently we use ideas as springboards for problem solving, to relieve, the stress we're under. So how can you do this? Well, what you're doing is, like all this process, you're giving yourself more time. Okay. You're not just writing down random thoughts. You are processing that information. You're going to put yourself in a better place. You'll be a little bit more organized. You can add more details to it later. So keep an idea journal, whether it is in your phone, right? Whether it's in a pad. I've had one since when I was, first worked as a management consultant, because I had ideas popping in my head all night long. It used to do my head in. So I used to keep Post-it notes beside my bed until I thought, well, I'm investing in a journal. Because I got up, wrote the idea, went back to bed. I stopped the idea festering. It gave me the information I needed to, and it gave me everything I wanted to do to make the right choices in life. Then another key important tool for us to use is reflection. See, there's no better place to think about things in a journal. This is why using a reflection journal is popular. See, the ability to examine one's thoughts and feelings is powerful, especially in our own space. And it's also where we grow some of our best ideas and come into our own as individuals. But why is it important? Well, we don't reflect enough. We never take the time for ourselves. Okay? Now, reflection serves many purposes. See, we reflect as a means of helping us process events in our lives. Reflection is what also helps us understand why things happen. reflection is a great way to clear your head. You can see where these skills will be useful in terms of success and in terms of beating your battle with food. The reflection, we learn about what didn't work and understand better what did. Reflection is what helps make a plan going forward. It's what helps you see success that you want to achieve. Journaling for reflection starts about writing about the events in your life. It enables you to process your thoughts. It's very important when we're looking at why we binge eat, why emotionally, and how we want to overcome it. Okay. And when you need to process your thoughts, expressing them on paper can be powerful. Writing releases the experience, like I said, from your mind, and invites you to pick it apart and analyze it in a safe place. Picking apart in your head allows your inner critic to start arguing with you. This is where we start asking the questions about why you feel the way you do and what you might have wished could have been different about an event. Sometimes it helps to see things in black and white. It's easy to notice truths, patterns, and what our takeaway should have been when we read the entries over to ourselves. In some ways, journaling is about reflection in some way, shape, or form, but in this, it's very specific. So, how can you help? Well, let's always focus on the positive, because I'm sure we can spend lots of time focusing on negatives, but start with something which happened recently in your life, which made you feel proud. Write down what happened in as much detail as possible. Once you have the information, take that step back. Read over what you wrote. What emotions do you see in your writing beside pride? How do you still feel about the event? Write down those emotions. Now go back and ask you why you feel this way about that event. What about this experience gave you a feeling of pride? What did you think you did especially well? Are your feelings to response to someone else's opinion or your own? Keep writing until you feel you've gained some insight into a memory. And once you've done it with a positive one, try it with a negative one. But always look at the turnaround. Always look at how you can take the positives out of this. And like I said, if you're a creative type, it's powerful. And creativity is a really important tool in terms of filling emotional voids, because we're all creative at some point, but we get quashed by life. Okay. No matter what you're doing, creativity at some point comes into play. If you've been a parent at any point, you will know how difficult it will be to get a child to eat your food. You just have to start thinking about being able to come up with a creative approach that can make a difference between a satisfying meal and a disaster with it all over the side. If you're working stuck, not knowing how to proceed with a client, it's going to be creativity that saves the day. See, creativity is that bridge between what we already know and what we need to accomplish. Again, sometimes we have to be a bit creative in beating our inner critic. We're a bit creative about overcoming binge eating because we're changing our state and changing our thought process. So how can this help? Well, think of this program, think of your journal as a safe place to explore whatever's on your mind. Okay. Now, a creativity journal can be a mess. It's one of the few that it can be. It's a place to dream, doodle, draw, whatever. It's a place to let your feelings flow out. Think of it as a safe place to rant, whatever's in your mind, scribble, brainstorm, reflect. But put it on your mind on a page. Many people use creativity journals that don't have lines, just blank sheets of paper, because it stops it from being, structured and rigid. And every day, if you can, if you're a creative type, only if you're a creative type, write 1, 2, 3 pages, whatever's in your mind when you wake up. Dump that brain dump. Again, for creatives, this is a great way to start their day. Now, you've heard all of this and you're going, God, with all these things, right? These 10 different things I've talked about and the thousands of journals you can buy, there's sure to be something that you need that can help you. The best part is you're not limited to keeping just one journal. You don't have to. But I need something different. You might be sitting there going, oh, I don't know what's going to work for me. There's a lot of choice. Oh, I'm not quite sure. What you need to remember is you should always feel free to personalize your journaling experience. Tweak the format until you find what works best. It could be a blank sheet. It could be a structured one. If you get stuck and want some help, just reach out. I've been journaling for donkey's years now. And I probably bought a fair few of those Amazon journals until I got settled on the one that works for me. But remember, journaling for success is all about setting goals. Achieving those goals might mean taking a little bit more creative approach sometimes. So I'll take you through 10 secrets to more powerful journaling, okay? The first one, journaling should be a normal part of your day. So start by asking yourself, where and when do you want to journal? The easiest way to do this is to work it into a morning or before bedtime routine. I do it morning and evening. Set aside a few minutes maybe over your lunch hour to write. Again, if you're using it as a structured journal, morning and evening is the best way. You know, other people can use journals as an ongoing conversation about a day. It depends on how you're pitching it, but how to get the most out of this? Start by asking yourself where and when you want to journal. If you're not sure, spend the next few days experimenting. Try writing when you first get up. Try adding it to your schedule. See what's best for you. The second one is, it's not about being perfect. It's not about buying countless journals off Amazon. A blank page in a simple book that, you know, this cost me, I think, £1.50 from a stationery shop, you know. But remember, a blank page can look pretty intimidating. And the last thing you want to do is screw it up by a pretty good journal, which you bought, and go, oh, you know, I've ruined that page. So your journal is for you. It doesn't care how it looks. Forget about grammar, forget about spelling. You know, this is your journal, it's your rules. The goal is to express yourself, okay? So if you're bothered about ruining a fancy journal, start with a cheap one, notebook, sketchbook. Have some prompts, get some prompts. You can even start on the second page if the first page looks nice and clean. Okay, until you get sorted. The other thing is, journaling is the perfect place to let go. You can be raw, it's vulnerable. Nobody reads it by you. Just get that chance to explore your emotions. Ask the question, why? All these things should be part of your journaling experience. Being able to let go of everything in your mind and clear out what's been bothering you will free up you to focus on what's important. And it's so important to have some way to let go. Otherwise, you start in this cycle. You get stuck in this shame and that guilt and no perfectionism. By using your journal as a kind of outlet, you're going to find yourself thinking better. You're going to be more creative. You have more grit and determination when it seems to get things done. You're going to see the progress you're actually making because you've done it in black and white. Fourth point is, journaling methods can change. You will go through a process. You may start with long form journaling. You may go with bulleted journaling. You go with scripted journaling. Okay. Don't become too set on doing a certain type or trying to fit into a certain way. For example, you might start writing long posts and suddenly enjoy bullet point journaling. Or you might enjoy doodling in the margin of your book and being a bit more artistic and being more creative with that. Your style will very likely change over time and over how busy and what your life is like. You'll also be drawn to experimenting with other types of journaling. Once you start, you've seen the benefit, you'll look at other parts of your life. The key is to do what feels right at the moment. Your journal should be a blend of different aspects of you. So make a point of trying new things. Try drawing your feelings instead of writing about them if you're feeling artistic. Or if you're in a give bullet point journaling a try. If you want to have structured journaling, get some prompts. You can always change your mind later. Journaling can also be addressed to someone else. Sometimes just writing about how you feel can fall a little flat. You might even think it feels silly or pointless to sit around talking to yourself. If this is the case, consider addressing your journal to someone else. Anne Frank, who wrote that famous diary, wrote as if she was talking to a friend named Kitty, a character in a book she liked. By addressing your journal to a friend, relative, famous person, or even someone made up, you can give a direction to your writing that feels more like making conversation. You could be telling your inner critic where to go. Ask yourself who you wish you could talk to given a chance. Doesn't matter if the person is living or dead, real or made up. They could be someone you wish you had as a mentor. It might be someone you wish you could talk to in real life but can't. Why do you wish you could talk to this person? What kind of advice would they give you if you brought problems to them? Once you determine what you want to write, start with a test letter, see how it feels. If you like, you can even write what you think the response might be to your letter. Although ChatGPT seems to be doing that for everyone now. The 6th point is journal entries can be at any length. Try not to use a journal with a date written at the top of each page. Okay. How long is a perfect entry? As long as it needs to be. Don't become caught up thinking you have to fill a full page or 2 every time you sit down. Sometimes what you need to say can be done in a handful of sentences, a few bullet points, the words of a quote or poem. Or one day you might need several pages to work through what's on your mind. Either way, it's fine. But just whatever you do what fits and works for you. Journaling can also tell a story. Sometimes you want to hold on to a certain memory or experience which meant a lot to you. Or you want to work through something and process it. When this happens, take the time to sit down. Tell the story as you were telling it to a friend. This is very important if you are looking at an issue and you want to get advice. Tell it as you're telling a friend, take a step back and say, okay, what advice do I give them? And then action it. But what is more important is give yourself the time. Remember to put the details. What's the context of that experience? How did it come about? Dig into the details. What happened next? Use your senses. What do you remember about the smells, the tastes? What have you heard? Conclude with how this experience made you feel. What did you take away from the experience? Why do you want to remember it? Again, very important. This is a critical one for dealing with the binges and reasons why, because we get so much data out of it. And when we understand the challenge and what's driving the behavior, then we can take action. Sometimes you need a boost. Okay, sometimes it gets stuck. Now, this is why I love having my prompted journal, because I don't have to worry. I can go in and answer questions. Sometimes it feels a bit repetitive, but that's okay. When you've got this, having some prompts to help you makes a massive difference. And they could be just questions. It could be partial sentences. It could be random words you just need to finish off. Whatever it is, it's just giving you a starting off point. 9th one, last but one, journaling is always honest. You need to start by asking why. You will never, ever reap the true benefit of journaling if you're not honest with yourself when writing. Remember, you're writing to yourself. You're the only person probably who's going to read it. How can you work through your emotions if you're hiding what's behind those emotions? The best part of journaling is it's a private place that you can decide not to share with another living soul if you desire. And it makes a safe place to say what is ever on your mind and get it out of your head and on paper. And again, if you are struggling to get into the heart of the matter, just ask the question why. Keep asking why until you get the answer. Eventually, normally by 5 times, if you ask why 5 times, you should get the answer. Now, journaling doesn't have to be alone. You might want to share it with somebody else. You know, I know people who've done couples journals. Again, different. You might decide it's a great kind of journal to deepen and strengthen a relationship. Absolutely. Writing back and forth to each other and give yourself a safe place to talk about whatever's on your mind. The one thing I'd say, though, is choose wisely who you want to journal with. It could be a mentor, a spouse, your child, your best friend. But pick someone you already feel close to so you can be relaxed writing to them. Set up some ground rules regarding honesty and be prepared to hear things that might be uncomfortable sometimes. So how can this help you? Well, hopefully, journaling is an adventure that can help you succeed in so many ways. But it takes time. And I've given you 10 different examples tonight of them. But what are you waiting for? Okay? It's about getting into the habit of writing daily. Once you start doing it, you'll be glad you did. You can start having results. You start having data to work on. So, you guys, if you haven't got one already, I'll email this out. I have a simple journal I use with all my clients, okay, which takes minutes to fill in. Okay, and it says this is a prompted one. So you have your positive affirmation. You know, if you want to set it out. We're talking about priorities today based on our list. We track sleep. How do I sleep? There's somewhere to track how you eat. How did you feel before and after eating? Because we need to track our hunger and fullness. Because this is about data. This is all about data over drama. Then at the end of the day, review the day. Did I eat anything out of habit? or eat something because I was feeling happy, stressed, bored, or any other emotion. Now, some days you may not have anything there, but by capturing it, we can then review, we can look back. We can look at what made us feel good today, have some gratitude, positive habits we're looking for, and finally we look at capturing the wins. Again, digital version of this will be sent out with this recording for you to use. So, has anybody got any questions? You can pop in the chat box to ask. Can you get rid of this and show? Either raise a question, raise your hand, pop it in the chat box. I will send out the recording of this and some resources to go with it. So save that. Okay. If you raise your hand, what I want to just, I've got a few minutes left. I will cover it off. I don't know if I can get my thing to work. There we go. Right. Okay. So what I'll also ship out to you all is a 7-day journaling workbook. Okay. Now this is important because this has some guided prompts in it for you. Okay. And it has, questions to ask yourself, things that can help you set yourself up for your day. So like on a Monday, you can ask, what's your purpose? What is your why? What does your life look like when you're at your happiest? Then question, what does your ideal day look like? How would your ideal day look if it was possible for you to fail? Think about ways you trap yourself. So where are you making things more complicated than they need to be? How are you complicit in creating things you do not want to do? And then gratitude, we talk about gratitude and gratitude. Write down 5 things you're grateful for and be specific. Brilliant. Cool. Fantastic. So I say I'll send these out. You'll get an email tomorrow with the replay and these documents attached. But again, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I really appreciate your time on Sunday evening. Again, once you learn the power of journaling, it is such a useful tool in so many different areas of your life. Okay, brilliant. Fantastic. Well, I'll let you get on. I got my wife's tea to cook because I'm a good house husband. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your comments. And yeah, I'll get the replays out to you. They'll be emailed out tomorrow with the replay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. See you now. Bye-bye.